Hello, this is Margaret Herzog with the Bureau of Indian Affairs Climate Change Program. Here to introduce the User's Manual as our first video tutorial for the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide. Now, the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide, or TCRRG, was developed by the White House Council on Native American Affairs Climate Subgroup. This is composed of agencies throughout federal government who work with tribes, and the User's Manual was prepared by the Bureau of Indian Affairs Tribal Climate Resilience Program, who leads the effort. Now, there's about 5 tips or tricks that will help you utilize every single page in this resource guide. These include looking at the agency pages. That will provide you technical support, funding, planning, tools, and examples. When you go to the region pages, that will also include intertribal and academic partners, as well as relist all the agencies with agency contacts for that specific region, which is really useful. When you go to a tribal page, you'll also find those agency links. And when you go to a tribal college page, there'll be links back to the tribes as well as other academic resources. When you go to an intertribal page, if it has tribal members, that'll link you back to their tribes. So you'll see that this relational system really helps you understand how agencies, regions, tribes, and groups all work together to build tribal resilience. There's also specific pages related to training, planning, and funding. Now, these are organized into 6 topics that are also used in the U.S. Climate Resilience Toolkit, which is another tribal nation's new system that was developed last year. It also focuses on youth and traditional knowledges in separate pages to provide specific resources in these critical areas. As mentioned, 2 systems were developed last year, linking to this new system. The first was that if you go to the U.S. Climate Resilience Toolkit, just toolkit.climate.gov, or go directly to the link. You can also just choose topics and then tribal nations. That'll get you to those 6 strategies that were mentioned, and those will be listed in the tools and examples sections of each page in the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide as a link back. You can also get to maps and data about climate that's useful for tribes. That is shown in the data.gov/climate. There's a new theme called Tribal, and those are also linked right back into this new resource guide. So to get started, just start with the landing page at toolkit.climate.gov/tribal. There's 8 simple icons. The 3 that I mentioned that lead to specific entities are tribes, regions, and agencies. And then the specific pages by topic are funding, training, planning, traditional knowledges, and youth. We'll go over how both those types of pages work. But first, also note that you can get to the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide on increasing number of agency pages. Whether you go to their tribes or climate pages, they might have a link back, such as at ba.gov. On the homepage, there's a category drop-down. You can choose climate change to get to the Tribal Climate Resilience Program. Scroll down either in the main section or on the sidebar, and you'll see links back to the Tribal Climate Resilience Guide. So if you choose the first icon, one of the first of the 8, the agencies icon, you will see that there's 2 columns. The first is just quick links organized by umbrella agency, and then full agency fact sheets. These contain details about programs and sub-agencies within that umbrella agency, or more in that section. Here's an example from NOAA of what happens when you click on that second column to get to the detailed links. I mentioned that it's linked back to the Climate Resilience Toolkit, so you'll see there's a bunch of tools that either were developed with tribes or for tribes they're finding it useful. Those will link right back into that system, as well as examples where a particular agency has worked with tribes that will link back to their case study. Additionally, you can get to technical services in the services section, funding, such as grant programs for tribes in the funding section. The training section will have webinars or travel support is provided oftentimes by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, so you can attend training some of these agencies provide that relate to climate. And then I'll also include products. Oftentimes these are a little different than tools because they're more like documents that particular agency provides related to climates and tribes. Now, the region icon, if you click on that, you get either a map view or you can choose one of the links to the 12 Bureau of Indian Affairs regions, because that's the way tribes are organized for accounting purposes. But when you go into one of those regions, you'll see all the other agencies listed that are in that area. Now, if you click on one of these blue links, that'll get you, again, just like the agency page, it'll get you back to that fact sheet of detailed tribes and climate information for each of the agencies represented. And then the orange link will get you to more specific regional information. So for FEMA, if you click on the blue link, it'll list all the nationwide training, funding, planning, technical services. But if you click the orange link, that'll get you specifically to a Region 10 tribal contact. Another interesting thing about the region page that the agency page doesn't have is it'll list regional groups that are not federal, that are also useful, that are focused on tribes and climate. Now, when you click the tribes icon, that gets you to a system with 3 different tabs. The first is tribes, then tribal colleges, and then the third tab is intertribal groups. When you choose any one of those tabs, you're going to use this quick filter to jump to one of interest, and I'll show you how that works. So you choose tribes, then pick the tab of interest. Then what you want to do is use this quick filter to just put in a few letters, and they'll automatically reduce that list of over 500 tribes to just a few with those particular letters in their name. Then you can choose the fact sheet a lot more quickly and easily. Once you get into the fact sheet, just like the regional page, it'll get you back to all your agency resources, both at the national, tribes, and climate level, and then to some specific resource for that region. It also allows tribes to share the awards they've won from the Bureau of Indian Affairs Climate or other programs that are related to climate, and what documents they might have produced, such as an adaptation or mitigation plan. And if they've put in a climate resilience toolkit case study, and you can also use the contact feedback form if you'd like to develop a study of your efforts, and I can help you get that put in. And then it'll show up here as well. And once you do that, that really helps other tribes in your region and nationally to see how other tribes are going forward. And they use these resources then, and they must be online your own tribal or partner sites. We don't post things that you don't already make available publicly. We also link back to partners. So if a particular Alaska Native village is a member of a particular Native association for their region, when you click back to it, it'll show what awards and examples that particular region has done. Another neat part is in the data and maps, and this is continually expanding. It'll have things like ArcOnline story maps so that you can see each of the climate impacts in your region. And one neat thing you'll find on one of the tabs likely is that it'll include all your particular tribal entities in the region, and when you click back, it'll get you right back to the fact sheet. So you can go from the fact sheet to the map or the map to the fact sheet, making it much easier to get to resources as well as download the data and link over to interactive maps it shows. For tribal colleges, that second tab in the tribes icon, same thing, about 37, you use quick link to the one of interest, and then a list which affiliated tribes are associated with it. One neat thing it does, it lists which cooperative ecosystem studies unit that particular tribal college could be a member of, and tribes can also be a member of it free. But what's neat is that the Bureau of Indian Affairs has become a member of each of the ones which have tribes or is in the process of becoming one, so that tribes can more easily take advantage of the lower indirect rates to get more proposals in place with vulnerability assessments and additional modeling work from different partners, and also help them in terms of incorporating traditional knowledges in their projects. The intertribal groups, which is the third tab under tribes, lists different Native associations and national groups or regional groups, and then it'll list their affiliated tribes, and that's always a work in progress. So if you see something missing, make sure to provide it in the feedback. And as I mentioned, there's these 5 single pages by topic, including training, planning, and funding by the Climate Resilience Toolkit strategies. And so that'll just give you a few more to get started, in addition to the ones by agency, region, tribe, tribal college, or intertribal group. Now, the traditional knowledges page is pretty important. It includes a lot of resources, whether it's research, videos, examples of how traditional knowledges are being used in tribal colleges and in tribal groups and tribes, but it also shows how the federal government is trying to understand how to better work with indigenous groups to respectfully handle and protect the knowledge and the knowledge holders. It also includes the guidelines, and that includes a bibliography which will really help tribes develop policies when they're working with academic and federal partners to more effectively plan ahead for how all the materials and technologies and deep knowledge developed over millennia that is being shared is correctly handled and holistically integrated so that the values and goals of the tribe and community can be more effectively focus of each climate initiative. Finally, youth resources is continually expanding to show ways to receive funding towards climate careers, to join climate groups. There's a lot of different curriculum that can be used in the classroom and college-ready support tools to get students interested in STEM careers: science, technology, engineering, and math. Finally, remember that at the bottom of the home page, as well as every other page in the system, you're going to see that Contact Us, Provide Feedback link. Please use it regularly. You can ask for data, funding, resources, documents. Just pull down the list of what you're after. Make sure you include your name as well as an email and or phone if you want to get me to get back with you. We'll also have tribal liaisons put in place soon that may also be able to help you find the resources you need from agencies or groups. We can also help you begin to leverage different climate data in your adaptation planning and vulnerability assessment processes, or even provide some limited mapping and modeling support for your needs. So please contact me. Also, if you have links that you think are missing, we can add them right in. Some of the ways to get the most out of the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide and recap is that tribal liaisons and me as your ITGIS systems and services specialist can help you go to your tribal fact sheet, view the different agencies and groups and things that are available to help you move forward. You can also visit the agency fact sheets on your own to see how you could better leverage each of them to support you. College faculty advisors can review the youth page or the different tribal colleges to help youth get involved in climate. And academic and nonprofit partners could also use this to learn more about traditional knowledges to use it more effectively and carefully in their climate initiatives. So I thank you for your feedback. Make sure to contact me if you have any questions as you begin to use the user's manual or the Tribal Climate Resilience Resource Guide. Thank you so much for your time.